This concept is go to the store and buy a bike.
I think $50 Walmart bike, that's basically what you're working with.
Yeah, and modifying it, turning a car into a truck. We're going to take this mountain bike frame here, and we're going to cut it just past the bottom bracket.
Nice 5 inches here.
It's also important to keep the 2 chain stays because it maintains your triangle laterally. We're going to cut this here and remove this whole rear end. And then we're going to take this piece right here, cut this chunk out here. At this point you have to do a little bit of guesstimating, and that kind of comes with time of doing these bicycles. The first one you do, you're going to cut out a chunk that's too big or not enough. The second one you do, it's going to be a little better. The third one's going to be real good. We're going to move this thing back, so we decide we're going to move it back 8 inches, so we make this section. If you happen to get lucky enough and you find some pipe that just happens to fit on here on the outside diameter, that could help you when you're aligning the bike. And if you're lucky and you have a whole container full of bikes, you got all kinds of stuff to work with.
We decided that we can do our chainstay extensions with this. Okay, so we have our chainstay extensions on here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to weld these down here to the existing chainstays, and at that point we can weld our extension in and get our angle correct.
Once we've done that and you move it back, the angle is going to become steeper, more acute here. So that's why you cut out this chunk and then you bend the whole thing forward and then you re-weld it here. That's how you maintain the rear triangle. And then you're attaching this to the seat tube. You actually can bend this, crush it so that it fits right on the tube. You get this in here as straight as you can get it, make this piece nice. And then you got a weld right here, and a weld right here, and a weld down here at the bottom. And you just get the sweet 3-point connection here with this new modified triangle. You know, there's basically 10 welds there. You know, you do 2 of these tubes on each side of the chain stays, 2 on each side of the seat stays, and a weld here and a weld here. Pretty simple. To do the rack system on this is very simple as well. You need to find maybe an old fan pulley, you know, from a car. Get something around about this big. Fan pulley is great, a clutch fan. Let's say that this is your pulley as your jig. That's the only jig for this thing is a pulley or a piece of vise, or even some vices are round on the back. You turn that thing up vertical and bend it around there. This is going to be this piece right here is this piece right here.
So I'm making an impromptu tubing bender. So I've found something round and I'm putting it in the vise. I'm going to clamp it down. And I've clamped this vice grip here.
And then bend a piece of metal around. It's not going to take any special benders to do it.
We're working with chromoly steel. It's a little harder to get the bend, but it doesn't matter because we got a bend and they're symmetrical, so they look pretty close. You can cut the angle to fit as best you can, and then you can always hammer in the edges just to bring the weld closer together.
So it comes together and you can weld to the side of the extended seat tube that you made here.
I'll tack it on both sides enough to where it'll hold itself, and then we can turn the bike level, get the axles level, get this thing level to where it looks right, and then we'll add in the first stay. Once we do that, then it's pretty much putting it together. Sweet.
98.
Right, I was just... 98? Okay, cool. When we finally get it into position, we're going to have to put a bar into here and maybe tweak it a little bit, put some levers onto it to make sure that we're not dragging this wheel.
Use that same bend here, right here, and you attach it here. Being careful that you have, the reason this isn't another bend on this side is to give room for your ankle or your heel on your bicycle coming past this point here.
So now I'm going to bend the rear shelf, which is exactly the same bend as the top shelf. Got this mark right here, and so I'm going to start my bend coming around this other side. And once I make the bend, then I can cut the tubes even.
So this is the vice grips on there, or the theory anyway, is that the vice grips on there to keep this from pulling through as I bend it around. So this is the theory. We'll see if that makes a difference. This helps focalize the bending at the spot that I want to do it, so I'm not bending it across this.
You have one symmetrical piece on this side and one symmetrical piece on the other side.
This is the rim strip spring clamp. We just need to keep this joint tight in here just while I weld it, and then once I tack it, it'll be fine. But until then, this is
trying to use a C-clamp or a vice grip would be misery.
Then you do, coming right off the dropout, this is key, not behind it, is you want a piece of metal going straight up to here.
Although this is working fine for what we're doing. So I got that. I want to make sure that I'm not giving myself a problem with the chain catching on that edge.
Then, right here, I do another bend that goes up to this piece to support the edge of this from flopping over.
We bent a piece of steel to make a brace for this. So now I'm going to be TIG welding this on, and I'm going to clamp it. All right, Carl, take it for a spin.